Hey, this is the old gaming geezer. I just wanted to give a little quick tutorial on how I do what I do with my voice. When I record my voiceover, I record it separately from the game audio so I can, fix it up afterwards. Because when you record audio from a voice, you're moving away from the microphone, your voice is getting quieter, it's getting louder, and I like to be able to kind of even that out a bit after I record it. So this is an example of something I recorded, and there's no processing done to this.
And Kenbury and Dilbury join John Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old gaming geezer. Good night, my sweet prince.
Yeah, and as you can hear the vocals, you can see it in the waveform. Actually, it's loud here, and then it's quiet, and it's a little bit louder, and then it's getting quieter at the end. And what I do is I bring it into this program called Reaper, which is a free program, I'm going to say. It's not free per se, but it's part of the GNU licensing system, so, it's free for personal use. So what I've done here, I have these, over here, this is what's called a master bus, master effects bus panel here. So I'm going to turn on this, which was turned off, and we'll hear the difference immediately. Actually, I started playing, and then we'll hear it.
Ered Kerman is the only one to have survived. Dunder, Jan, Kenbury, and Dilbury join John Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old gaming geezer. Good night, my sweet princes. May hosts of angels guide you to your rest.
And could you hear the difference there? It just kind of bursted up in the volume, and it just evened it all out and sort of maximized the volume. I'm going to show you the actual WAV file, which I will drag in here now. This is the actual WAV file of the post-processed version. If you compare that to the basic recorded version, you see I've maximized my volume. And I'm going to show you how I do that. I'm going to quickly show you how I do that. So let's remove that track, and we will bypass and bypass. The first thing I do is a noise gate. And what a noise gate is it basically sets a minimum volume, and everything under that volume is silenced. So if I was to play this, I'll bypass this. If I was to play this,
Ered Kerman is the only...
And you could hear there like bumps and little breaths and stuff like that. So let's compare that
Ered Kerman is the only one to have survived. Dunder, Jan, Kenbury, and Dilbury join John Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old gaming geezer. Good night, my sweet princes. May hosts of angels guide...
And you could hear there the differences between... when I wasn't talking, it just went silent, and when I was talking, it just allowed the sound through. It's a gate. It basically closes the gate when the sound gets too low, and it opens the gate when the volume reaches a certain level. And it's just a simple thing. It's just to clean up the sounds between the words. And we have things like attack here. That means how fast it reacts, and I have it reacting very fast. Hold, I'm actually not sure what that does. But release is when it actually releases it back. And what I've done is I've increase the release time so that it doesn't just cut it off at the end when I stop talking, but it kind of fades it out very, very slightly. Very, very quickly. It only does it in 864 milliseconds, which is very quick, but it still does it. And this, I don't know what it is. Low pass is a filter for getting rid of the high frequencies, and high pass is a filter for getting rid of the low frequencies. I wouldn't worry too much about that. The second thing that I do is just I add an equalizer. So I'll enable the equalizer. And the equalizer, let's bring this down here so we can see it. The equalizer, I just try and boost some frequencies. I pull out low frequencies, and I just push some of the higher frequencies around 20 kilohertz. So let's just play this and see what it sounds like.
Ered Kerman is the only one to have survived. Dunder, Jan, Kenbury, and Dilbury join John Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old...
And you can hear the difference between that, and I it's just pushing certain frequencies a little bit more, and yeah, it makes it sound great. The next thing I do is what's called a multi-band compressor, and this is a multi-band compressor. Let's bring the on. All of these are, actually they're not. The first one here, the noise gate, RIA gate, is part of Reaper. These others are actually plugins, but they're free plugins that I found. But I mean, Reaper has got an EQ in it, and it has a multi-band compressor, but you don't even have to use a multi-band compressor. What a compressor does, it just kind of compresses the volume, kind of boosts the low volume and brings down the high volume, and just tries to straighten it out. So let's have a quick listen to this.
Eric Kerman is the only one to have survived. Dunder, Jan, Kenbury, and Dilbury join John or Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old gaming geezer. Good night.
That's a very subtle thing. You can't really. It's difficult to hear, but it is there. It's very subtle change, but it's basically a padding, a little boost for everything, you know. And I can control it in the high frequencies here, the middle frequencies here, and the low frequencies here. And this is my master controls here. The last thing that I do is a master limiter, and this is a free master limiter called Keirhouse Audio Classic Master Limiter. It's actually it's really good. Let me turn that on. Let's shut down our multi-band compressor. We'll turn on our master limiter. Whoops. Here's our master limiter. The on-off for it. So what the master limiter does is it turns up the volume of everything, but when it reaches a certain height, it basically clamps the volume there. And so that's how I could turn up the volume of everything. And we can hear that blast of audio. Let's turn it off and we'll turn
Eric
it on.
Kerman is the only one to have survived. Dunder, Jan, Kenbury, and Dilbury join John or Kerman on the list of heroes who will never come home. This is the old gaming geezer.
And there you have it. It's as simple as that. And I run that. I run my audio through these four little effects, and then I save it out, and I use that on my final videos, and it just makes the audio sound really good, and the audio of the vocals sound really good, and it allows it to sit above the game audio, because the game audio has got all of this done to it by the game developers. Now, the tools that I'm using for this is Reaper. As I said, it's a free GNU licensed software, although would like you to donate 60 euros or $60 or something to them. But you don't have to. If I was using this professionally, I would, but I'm not, because I'm only doing it for YouTube and I don't make any money out of YouTube. And all of these things, like the noise gate, the EQ, the compressor, and the limiter, they would all be part of Reaper. But I have used other ones that I just like using better, that's all. But you can use this with any digital audio workstation or DAW, like Adobe Audition, Cubase, Logic, Pro Tools, Ableton. I'm sure there's way other. You could probably do this in Audacity, although I've never tried. And it's really, really good. It's a simple thing. I do recommend, if you want to try this, to play with the settings and try and experiment with it, because it took me several months to get those settings the way that I liked them. You know, I originally got it the way I liked it, and then I listened back over it a few times, made a couple of videos, and I'm going to adjust it a little bit. And I do adjust it a little bit for every audio voiceover I process. So, you know, you do want to adjust it and change it around a bit and make it all work. So anyway, I hope this helps you. This is the old gaming geezer signing off. Good night, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu.